Hollywood's full of fights between big stars, but when Keanu Reeves gets dragged into one, everybody sits up straight for a totally different reason. He's known for being super calm and crazy nice, never the type to hold grudges or start drama. For over 40 years, he's been called one of the sweetest dudes in the whole movie world, the guy who talks nice to every single person on set, who quietly gives cash to hospitals without telling anyone, who keeps his life simple even with all the fame. But listen, even a total angel like Keanu has a limit. There was this one moment in his career where staying quiet turned into feeling let down, and feeling let down turned into keeping far away. It had nothing to do with ego, fame, or money. It was about something way more important, basic respect. And the guy who crossed that invisible line became the one person Reeves decided he'd never work with again. The tough kid years that made him such a real gentleman. Long before he got huge, before The Matrix, before those gentle smiles became his trademark, Keanu Reeves was just a little boy who learned pain super early. He was born on September 2, 1964, in Beirut, Lebanon, and his childhood was full of crazy ups and downs. His dad, Samuel, left when he was only 3, so his mom, Patricia, a British costume designer, had to raise him and his sister all alone. They moved around a lot, first to Australia, then New York, and finally to Toronto. Every move meant a new school, a new accent, and that constant feeling of not really belonging. Dyslexia made reading really hard for him, and getting in trouble felt normal. He got kicked out of several schools, not because he was a bully, but because he couldn't stay still. Hockey became his escape, something he loved until a bad injury ended it all. That big change turned his whole life around. Acting just kinda showed up out of nowhere. Coldplay here, a few commercials there, then he got a job hosting a Canadian kids show called Going Great. At 19, he drove to Los Angeles with nothing but a dream and a borrowed green card. The Hollywood he walked into in the mid-80s was tough and all about pushing hard. Agents told him straight up that his name sounded too weird and begged him to change it. For a little while, he tried. Chuck Spadina, Casey Reeves, even Paige Templeton III. But every time he tried to say it, the truth just came out. Hi, I'm Keanu. Keeping his real name told everyone exactly who he was gonna be. The kind of guy who wouldn't change himself just to get famous. What came next was a slow, steady climb with movies like Young Blood, Dangerous Liaisons, and the huge hit Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure in 1989. By the time the 90s started, Keanu Reeves wasn't just some new guy anymore. He was a name that fans totally loved, super humble, a little awkward, and completely real. But life, like he learned the hard way, doesn't let you stay sweet without throwing some rough stuff at you first. Friendship, heartbreak, and the painful truth from River Phoenix. Back in 1989, while filming Parenthood, Keanu worked with Martha Plimpton, who was dating this young actor named River Phoenix. Instead of any weirdness, something awesome happened. Keanu and River became real best friends. They nerded out over motorcycles, music, and how fake Hollywood felt sometimes. When director Gus Van Sant was casting My Own Private Idaho in 1991, River's agent wouldn't even let him read the script because it might hurt his good boy image. Keanu wasn't okay with that. He got on his motorcycle in Toronto and rode 1,300 miles all the way to Florida just to hand the script to River himself. River read it, loved it, and said yes, but only if Keanu did it too. That loyal, ride-or-die friendship was totally Keanu. But Just 2 years later, everything fell apart. On October 31, 1993, River Phoenix collapsed outside the Viper Room in Los Angeles from a drug overdose. He was only 23. Keanu, who was shooting Speed at the time, was completely heartbroken. Friends said he rode his bike alone for days, trying to deal with it. He almost never talked about it after. Years later, when people asked, he just said, "I hate speaking about him in the past tense." That pain went super deep inside Keanu. It changed how he saw Hollywood. All the crazy parties, the cruelty, the way it treats people cold. He got even quieter, more private. To the world, he became that sad Keanu sitting alone on a park bench. But really, he was a guy who learned the darkest side of fame, that not everyone lives long enough to finish their story. This also connects to how he kinda knew another actor, Matthew Perry, because both had been friends with River, and years later, River's name would pull them into a huge mess nobody saw coming when one bad joke went way too far. By 2022, Matthew Perry was ready to tell his whole story. friends, lovers, and the big terrible thing was supposed to be this raw, honest book. A story from a guy who almost died and lived to talk about it. Perry nearly died in 2019 when his colon burst from opioid problems, putting him in a coma for 2 weeks. He spent 5 months in the hospital and had 14 surgeries. When he wrote the book, he wanted to be totally open about the pain, the fame, the emptiness. But right in the middle of all that honesty, one part felt like pure poison. In a part remembering his early days, Perry talked about working with River Phoenix on A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon in 1988. He described River super warmly, calling him beautiful inside and out, too good for this messed up world. But then he wrote a line nobody could believe. It always seems to be the really talented people who die young. Why is it the original thinkers like River Phoenix and Heath Ledger go, but Keanu Reeves is still here? That felt like a pea. Unchanged in the gut. People who read it weren't just shocked, they were hurt. For so many fans, Keanu Reeves wasn't just any actor. He stood for calm kindness and real class in a business that loves big egos. Putting his name in a question about who deserves to live felt super mean, and it wasn't just once. Later, when he wrote about comedian Chris Farley's death, Perry used the exact same cheap shot, naming Keanu Reeves again. When parts of the book leaked online in late October 2022, the internet lost it. Headlines ignored Perry's recovery or his honesty about addiction. They only talked about how mean he was to Keanu Reeves. Twitter exploded with thousands of angry posts. "Touch Keanu and you lose the whole internet," one fan wrote. People called it cruel, strange, and proof that fame can make you bitter. Even in Hollywood, people were confused. Perry and Reeves had no known fight, no movies together, barely any contact. They lived near each other in LA, but never worked together or even took a photo. For Perry to attack him so hard, not once but twice, felt deliberate. Some thought jealousy, others thought it was a weird attempt at dark humor, but whatever the reason, the damage was done. And while Perry's team tried to focus on his recovery story, it was too late. In just days, his big comeback book turned into total drama, and the quiet, gentle Keanu Reeves did something nobody else in Hollywood probably would. He said nothing. That silence, so calm, so on purpose, and so classy, spoke louder than words. It showed everyone that Keanu Reeves doesn't just play good guys in movies. He really is one. Apology, silence, and the street they both lived on. In the weeks after the book came out, Matthew Perry watched his big forgiveness moment turn into a PR nightmare. The news stopped talking about survival or comeback. It only talked about that one cruel, pointless line about Keanu Reeves. The internet anger didn't calm down. It got louder every day. Perry's team tried to fix it, but the big question stayed. Why attack Keanu? By April 2023, Perry finally talked about it publicly at the Los Angeles Times Festival of Books. Standing in front of a huge crowd, he admitted what everyone already knew. "I said something stupid," he told them. "It was a mean thing to say. I apologized to him in person. Future copies of the book will take his name out." He added a weird detail almost nobody knew, that he and Keanu lived on the same street. The crowd laughed nervously at the twist, but it just made everything feel stranger. In a separate interview with Deadline, Perry tried again to fix it. "I'm actually a big fan of Keanu," he said. "I just picked a random name. My mistake. Sorry. I should have used my own name." But to most people, that sounded fake. You don't accidentally pick the name of the guy who lives down the street, the guy famous for being kind, the guy who lost the same friend you're writing about in that exact chapter. It felt less like a mistake and more like a hidden personal dig Perry wouldn't explain. The whole time, Keanu Reeves stayed totally quiet. He didn't put out a statement, didn't accept the apology publicly, didn't let his team say anything. No shady comments, no clever comebacks, no social media posts, just peaceful silence. But people close to him said he felt disappointed, but not surprised. Reeves had seen enough of Hollywood to know fame makes people say weird things. What mattered to him wasn't revenge or looking good. It was staying calm. People who've worked with Reeves say his silence wasn't avoiding the issue. It was his way of staying kind. To him, getting involved would just create more negativity. So he chose distance, both emotionally and professionally. Quietly, he let friends know he wouldn't work with Perry ever again, not for revenge, but to protect his own peace. For Keanu Reeves, forgiving doesn't always mean letting someone back in. Some Times it means closing the door softly and walking away. In a world full of celebrity fights, gossip, and huge egos, that quiet choice was powerful. He didn't need to trash anyone or defend himself. His silence became his strongest voice, louder and classier than any argument, and while Perry's apology faded into regular Hollywood noise, Keanu's gentle kindness stayed perfect, a reminder that sometimes saying nothing hits the hardest. Why everyone rushed to defend Keanu so fast? The internet reaction was bigger than Hollywood had seen in years. Fans flooded social media with love, sharing stories that all painted the same picture: Keanu Reeves, the honest guy who always keeps it real. Stories poured in. That 2015 video of him giving up his subway seat to a woman with heavy bags. The story of him going back to a gas station just to sign a fan's receipt because he had no paper. The time he stood in the rain outside his own movie's afterparty because he refused to cut the line. Co-stars shared too. Sandra Bullock said after she casually mentioned never trying champagne or truffles, Keanu showed up at her house with both. No cameras, no reporters, just pure kindness. The Matrix crew confirmed he bought every single one of them a Harley-Davidson motorcycle to thank them for their hard work. On John Wick 3, he even fought for 2 stunt guys to survive in the story because he loved their skills too much to kill them off. This is the guy Matthew Perry took a shot at. And that's why the backlash hurt so bad. People weren't just protecting a celebrity. They were protecting basic human decency. In a world where egos and scandals dominate, Keanu Reeves showed kindness can shine brighter, and when someone tried to dirty that, it felt like an attack on all of us. Reeves never spoke publicly, but friends said he appreciated the support. He didn't want revenge. The world had his back. And sometimes that's the best healing. Healing, heart, and moving forward. By the time Matthew Perry passed away suddenly in October 2023, the drama had quieted down, but the memory lingered. Reeves didn't say anything big, though close friends said he wished peace for Perry and felt sad about his struggles. Truth is, Keanu had let go of the anger long before. At 60, he keeps living his way, quiet, grounded, no drama. He's found happiness with artist Alexandra Grant, his girlfriend since 2019. They met working on Ode to Happiness and built a relationship based on creating things, respect, and truly understanding each other. For a man who lost his daughter Ava in 1999 and then Jennifer Syme in a terrible car crash in 2001, finding peace again was pure magic. His friends say he keeps negativity far away now. He still supports his sister Kim, who beat leukemia, still rides his motorcycles, still plays bass with his band Dogstar. And in interviews, his answers stay short, deep, and real. When asked what happens after we die, he once simply said, "I know that the ones who love us will miss us." That line, like so much of his life, avoids bitterness or attention. It's all about gentle truth, the kind you earn by going through pain and still choosing kindness. Maybe that's why the world loves him so much. Because Keanu Reeves isn't just a movie star. He's living proof that you can survive betrayal, loss, and disappointment and still walk through life with your heart intact. Keanu Reeves might never talk about this fight again, and he doesn't have to. His silence says everything about the man he is. Forgiving doesn't always mean forgetting, and dignity doesn't need a comeback. But hey, what do you think? Do you believe Matthew Perry meant every word he wrote, or was it just a messed up mistake from a guy who was hurting? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this story, smash that like button, share it, and subscribe for more Secret Hollywood tea.